Welcome everybody. We're going to continue on from where we left off. But in the time that overnight, I had some more thinking to do. I'm always thinking and revising and trying to make things better. I decided that I would drop the prop extension. The prop extension weighs a ½ ounce, so if you remember what I've said about things in my videos, it's about leaving parts off. Yeah, Tim, I'm up early. This is Monday, and I'm up at 5 o'clock on Monday. So, we have my nose plotted out. It's, I don't know, a little different than I wanted, but it'll be fine. Let me clean up some of this mess here. Hey guys, I want to tell you something about YouTube and what's going on. For you guys that may or may not understand how YouTube works. They had a change in terms of service. The reason you're seeing more mid-roll ads on my videos is not because of me. It's because of YouTube. If a channel is not making YouTube money, they're gonna drop the channel. And I don't want to see that happen. So my channel rate is down 36% right now. So I got to get that up somehow. So super chats, ads, whatever, it's got to come up, or I stand to lose the channel. Things have changed, that's for sure. So what I'm saying is, if you can drop, hey Jack, if you can drop a super chat and help me bring the ad revenue or the revenue up on YouTube. See, the YouTube, we're partners, supposedly, even though they don't treat us like partners. If you see a member in green, like Jack there, he's a paid member. That helps. This YouTube is a business. They got to make money, because I'm sure not. Anyway, let me get this mess cleaned off here. Doubler material. So if you're not a member, hit the join button down there. It's, I don't know, $4.99 a month or whatever. I hate it when they send me letters saying that I'm down in numbers or whatever. Everything's a numbers game in life. Okay, we're going to assemble this this fuselage. Let's change views on the cams. So who gave me this? I think this came from Tom Dixon. Tom Dixon gave it to me, I believe. .5 carbon fiber. Now back in the day, we used to double it up with plywood. I'm not sure who came up with this idea. The first time I saw it was on SV11, so it might have been Randy Smith that came up with it or whatever, but it really is a good way to do things. It's hard to believe that the SV is it Nostalgia 30 legal. Yep, Craig, I'm going to stay with the PA75. I'm just going to shuck all the weight I can. Instead of running an extension, you know, I might go to a header muffler instead of this muffler. I talked to Randy last night, and he said that it runs better on this big muffler because of the volume. I'm not sure how that's going to work. I mean, if I give up a couple of grams, that's okay. But if I'm giving up, you know, big ounces and stuff, that's a big deal. The prop extension was a ½ ounce. Yeah, it makes for a nicer looking nose, but I've got to lose weight. So at this stage of the game, it's not a big deal. I made it long, 3/4 of an inch long. We'll just move the crutch forward 3/4 of an inch and throw the what's so funny, Tim? We'll stick with the 75. See what you give up an ounce. On the motor, but I was figuring in all the rigmarole, and you give up quite a bit on the propeller, but I might go to a two-bladed carbon. So, you know, I'm just going to keep going for the lighter and lighter things unless I need nose weight, which I shouldn't. This design is going to be short coupled, meaning it's not going to have a 20-inch tail movement. Yeah. Well, leave some of the wood off. You'll notice when I started the show, I had a grain chart. We're going to talk about balsa wood today too. I was watching another video of a guy explaining how to use tools. Well, as far as I'm concerned, he didn't use them right, but I think I might do that too, because, you know, I take it for granted that everybody knows what I know, and a lot of guys don't have the experience I have, as my friend Jim Lynch said. So I will show you some of the different tools I use, how I use them, and why I use them, proper way or whatever. The biggest thing is to keep your fingers away from the sharp stuff. So, you look here. This is my crutch setup. This shelf here is just a box to kind of box things together. I'm going to have to glue a piece of carbon on the back of this pipe and make a cradle to support the muffler in the back. So I've been doing a little thinking about that. How I want to do that. So this is the inside. So this goes over here. And this is the outside. We want to make sure we get the glue on the right sides of this stuff. So we'll mark this with an X. That already has an X on it. So how these doublers work. Yeah, files. These files, this is a small file, but it's called a crosscut file. And if you look at the angle of the teeth in it, it's only made to go in one direction. So if you're pulling it back, you're dulling the teeth on the file. I've seen guys go like this, and all they're doing is dulling the file. So you want to go forward with the file, lift, forward with the file, and lift. If you're going to draw file, you want to pull the file in one direction. You want to go one direction with the file flat, like at a 45 to the material. Or you can do it at a 90, but it doesn't work as good. 45, and that smoothens the metal up. Let me show you something else I forgot about. Let's see, wait, I just threw that piece out. Here we go. This is a piece of aluminum. It has a big burr on it from the shear. This file is a very fine file, so you see how nice that took that burr off, right? That easy. I'm going to burnish this, and I'll show you what that is. If you have a piece of metal, and you know we work with wood, this does work with wood as well. It's called burnishing. The tail on the file is not only to hold the handle, it's to burnish. So first you want to get the flashing off of it, like so. And you can still feel it a little bit. Let's see if we can get this off. No, can't. There's a square tail on the file. You can do it with this. I'm going to do it with this Allen wrench, or you can do it with a scribe. It's called burnishing. You just rub it along that and round the metal over. And it takes off the shavings, and it makes it very smooth and very shiny. But I do it with the end of the file normally, but I can't get the handle off that one. That's a hobby file. You can see the shavings coming off of it. And that's a real aircraft trick that I learned in the Navy when I was an aircraft mechanic. And in the Navy, they want you to burnish off all the edges of the metal so you don't get cut. Not only that, it makes it stronger. And it looks more finished. But enough about metal. Let's go back to balsa wood. This is a piece of aluminum I cut a bunch of motor mount pads with. Cut across this way and didn't realize that the shear twisted the metal. I guess when the shear comes down, it cut it fine, but when it comes back up, it's in such a bind that it twisted it. So we won't be doing that anymore. We'll have to saw those. So throw it out. Anyway, let's get some wax paper. I wish I could get a big piece of Teflon. And I'm sure I could if I wanted to pay for it, but it's just something that I don't need that bad. I've been looking for different objects to glue on the back of this muffler, and I have some nice objects, but I think what's going to happen is I'm going to have to make it, because it's just, one is too heavy, the other is plastic and it might melt. I don't know what the melting point of that plastic is and how hot that header gets, but I'm sure that it gets very hot. So, let's see, the glue goes here. You notice I got that groove cut in there. That keys into the into this business here. Let's mark this all off with some lines so we know where it goes. I had a pen. There it is. .1240 with 2.4 ounces, or 1.9 ounce difference on that. So we're going to eliminate the prop extension. Won't look quite as cool, but it gets rid of 3/4 of an ounce. So function over fashion, I guess. Take your little square. Want to make sure all these things get in square. You know, when you buy a kit, all this work is done for you. But it's not what you want. At least it's not what I want. So I really enjoy scratch building and designing on the fly, because I can change my mind like I did with the prop extension. I'm not set in any one area. So this is how much I had to move the motor from the original design, which is, this is 3/4 of an inch. And I just extended the 3/4 of an inch this way and put the plug back there in the back, and once this is all finished off inside, you won't see it anyway because it all gets painted and Z-epoxied, so on and so forth. So let's lay up these pieces here. Now, probably the biggest thing that I got to watch out for is to get the glue out of this crack. Okay, we're going to mix up some, hopefully I got some 30-minute epoxy. Well, that's 15. That's 30-minute. Slow cure. This is the resin. I need, let's see, what did I do with that? I think I put it over here. Nope. We might not get to that. I might have to go to the store if they're even open today. Oh man. 30-minute epoxy. That's 15, and this is the hardener, so that ain't gonna work. Oh man. There's 30-minute on the floor. Let's see what that's about. 30-minute hardener. Fell off on the floor. $30-minute. Okay, we're in shape. So now we need a mixing tub. Like, subscribe, and share the video. Become a member like Craig and Jack and I don't know, so many others. It really helps out. It helps keep my channel going. Because these channels, if they're not profitable to YouTube, they're going to kill them. might have to go to, I guess I could do that. I got an email into those people to see what's going on to a .tv web address. That way we could get on Roku. Okay, always looking. The offer's still open for a Monday or a Friday night moderator to help out Charles in the chats, in the video chats. Due to Rusty's passing, we're looking for a moderator. So let's mix up some epoxy. We got to mix up quite a bit. Looks like this might be bad. Let's put this in the microwave and see if it'll see if it'll come back to life. Yep. 15 seconds in the microwave. Now I want to talk about that. Back years ago, ooh, it's hot. Years ago, somebody asked me how I did epoxylite. And I told them that I put it in the microwave to soften it up. Just like I did this epoxy. The epoxy was starting to crystallize, but now it's like water, so it'll be fine. When he took the epoxylite out of the microwave and took the cap off, which I never said to leave the cap on, it got on him and burned him. Please use some common sense when you're doing this kind of stuff. You know, I take for granted that people have common sense, and they really don't. So, not saying everybody, but please use common sense. I just microwaved the epoxy. I had it in about 10 or 15 seconds to warm it up. I didn't boil it. Fuck, you stay on the floor. Okay, let's mix this up good. I'm not sure this is going to be enough, but should be. Yeah, maybe not. Not even close. We need more. Okay. So, like I stated, please use some common sense. I just microwaved that. I have one trick that I do in finishing. I used to do with Aero-gloss, but I don't pass it on because I'm afraid somebody burned their house down and then try to blame it on me. I just watched a video this morning of a guy steaming wood in the microwave for decorative pieces of oak or cedar or whatever the heck he was doing. No, I'm not going to be able to find my brushes. There they are. Okay. Now yesterday I used 5-minute epoxy because I could get after it real quick. Well, you can't get after this very quick, so use at least 30 minutes. Some guys use overnight, super slow set, but 30 minutes is fine. Okay. There's no rhyme or reason for what I just did, except I didn't get it on quite straight. We're going to have to mix up some more. But that's alright. We got enough to do the job. That's all that counts. I didn't have to go to the store. This is really the only place where you want to use quite a bit of epoxy, because as I stated yesterday, the more solid you can make the nose of your airplane, the better the engine run you'll get, more consistent. These Harbor Freight acid brushes, the hair's coming off. Doesn't matter because they're going to be sandwiched in between the carbon veil. But if you're doing Z-epoxy on a fiberglass job, it's kind of a pain in the rear when the handles come off. But there is a way to fix them. I just haven't done it because I don't need to. And this is back to the tool portion of the video. I'll explain how to do that here. Outside, inside. I need to make a press to press this stuff together. One down. I don't think there's enough epoxy here to finish the job. Matter of fact, I know there's not. Oh yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. I changed the angle of the cowling 3 times to hit the needle valve. By moving the engine back or forward 3/4 of an inch, I missed the line again. So I got to put the needle valve in the cowl, which is not really a big deal, but I try so hard to gameplay this stuff out on each model that I build, and invariably shit'll change. Okay, where's my other one? Here it is. Here's the doubler. You notice that these X's come in handy because you could pick this up and put the glue on the wrong side real easy. And we're out of glue, just like I thought. Bam. Not supposed to mix it with a brush, but I don't have time to wait, so just mix it with the brush and carry on. John and I were talking last night, and he said, you know, you did the marathon build, you're not in any rush to get this finished. I said, yeah, I know. I still got an airplane I need to paint. And a Bearcat to build. There's just not enough time in a day for me to build all the airplanes in my life that I want to finish. So that means I'm going to have to live forever. Okay, now, get this out of the way. Yeah, just because you see me do something, Craig Biswick says, common sense is not so common. This is true. Just because you see me do something, don't think you can do it. Ask a question before you try it. Not to say that I'm the greatest or whatever. I just got a lot of experience doing things my way. Okay, we need another piece of paper, wax paper. Hopefully that'll work, and yeah, it will. Okay. Want to make sure that these are in the correct position before you weight them, and this should dry up pretty quick. I mean, you can see that it's a few thousandths there, but we'll sand that sand that down when the thing dries. So, I'm going to get some books. We'll talk about tools while this is drying. It's only going to take 15 minutes for it to set up. Be cured in 30. Probably wondering about these books. I got a full set of them. They have, like, there's a Yak 1 through 7. They have every World War II, World War One. They have every airplane in them. So if I want to build, let's say, this airplane here, I just take this out and build it. The cowl I would use for that is right here. That'd be perfect for that. That looks like the German version of the P-39, the Black Widow. It's a G1. There's all kind of airplanes in here. Goofy ones too. This is how I did my Supermarine. I just took it right out of this. These are all, I think this book is World War II. Now there's a Sopwith, so it's not all World War II. That's a spine, that's a, there's a Junkers, looks like. Junkers. Any airplane you want to know is in these books. There's a couple more down there, but I don't think we need any more weight. So let's talk about tools. Okay, I already showed you on the files. Been using these scalpels. These are surgeon scalpels. They're about $6. I mean, maybe $7 on Amazon. You get the handle and 100 blades for $7. They're twice as sharp as X-Acto. However, if you got to put any pressure on anything, these don't work. You have to use a number 11. I think this blade here is, yeah, it's half the thickness of a number 11, so that's why it's so sharp. But it's made to cut skin. You can really screw yourself up, and yeah, you got to be careful. I don't have a Japanese backsaw here, but I have one at home. A Japanese backsaw is the same as a X-Acto backsaw, except sharper. The Zona saws are good, but the teeth are too close together. I have some of the last Zona saws. You're going to need a Zona saw. Ball drivers, these are sold by Jim Lee. I got this one bent. They come in different length handles. These are the long handles. He sells the regular and these. Get yourself a good machinist scale. This machinist scale is about $6 on Amazon for 2 of them, and it reads down to 64ths. And if you can see that small, you're doing way better than me. I can see it, but you can't. You cannot measure with a pencil down to 64ths. I also have a ruler that has holes in it at different increments. So those are real good. A small combination square. You need that. I sand to this by holding the wood in the square like so, and then take the block sand, a block, and sand the edge up until you touch the square. That gives you a perfect 90 degrees joint. The most important tool in your toolkit is going to be sandpaper and sanding blocks. Now, I really like the DuraBlock series. You can get the DuraBlock series about $40. You get about 6 different sanding blocks. I wish they sold this one. This is a DuraBlock round sanding block. I wish they sold this one in things like dowels, you know, 3/8, 1/8, which I use those a lot. But then I have polywogs, but these blocks are just so much better. So get yourself some good sanding blocks, or you can make sanding blocks like this. This is just made out of a piece of 3/8, or this bottom piece is a half, and then a TC8 to it, and then sticky back sandpaper on it. Got to have some of those. Harbor Freight sells the acid brushes, 36 pieces, $2. They're kind of crappy because the hairs fall out of them, but all you have to do to fix that is take a pair of side cutters, which is right here, maybe. These are compound cutters that I got from Nipex. Kind of pricey. You don't really need them. But you take a pair of side cutters and you put a dimple in it like so. That tightens up the heel. And then I take some CA, some thin set CA, hold the brush up in this direction like so, so the CA doesn't wick up into the hairs, which it does anyway. Just go around the heel of the brush. Little kicker on it. And now those hairs won't come out of there because they're crimped and glued in. So you've taken a useless $2 brush, $2 pack of 36, so this is a couple of cents, and turn it into something that you could use for finishing epoxy. And the one, you don't have to do anything if you're doing stuff like I just did with the doublers. Okay, this stuff is pretty much set up here. We can start to, yeah, we'll give it a few more minutes. If you look at it, you can see it's kind of stringy still, so we'll let it sit a couple more minutes before we go on to the next step of fuselage construction. Because even though I got to keep this thing rolling, I don't want to screw up my airplane because I did that. 13 viewers, 4 likes. I want to see 13 likes. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber. Hit the join button if you're not a member. Super chats help. They help keep the channel alive because YouTube is my partner and they get 50% of the money or whatever, but if we don't, that pays for the bandwidth. This channel is down 36%. If I hit 50%, we won't be here. These Nipex compound side cutters, they're about 60 bucks, but they will cut 1/8" piano wire and not dent the jaws. So if you don't want to saw and you want to muscle them, you can use these little bolt cutters, and they cut 440 bolts like they're butter. Time for me to buy some more JB Weld. I use a lot of JB Weld for different things. This is the best, the strongest epoxy on the market, JB Weld. There isn't anything stronger that I found. And you can even go to Project Farm and look at his videos, and JB Weld always comes out on top. So if you're looking for a good, strong weld, you know, a glue joint, JB Weld. I could probably glue the doublers on with JB Weld, but it's heavy, so everything has a purpose. Got to get yourself a stripper. This is the Master Air Screw stripper. You can just adjust it to any width and strip your own wood, because you're not going to find any wood in a hobby shop that's really in good shape. So you got to make your own. A lot of guys have seen me use the dressmaker's tape. Go in your wife's sewing kit and steal her dressmaker's tape. I don't know what happened to it. But you got to have one of these so you can go around, measure around corners. I talked about sanding tools. This is a polywog. These come from Westwood. I think it's Westwood. Fine woodworking tools. You get a whole set for about 11 bucks or so. Let's see. Get yourself a miter box. Got to have a miter box for cutting those sticks perfect 90 degrees. Don't need a hammer any bigger than this. If you do, you ain't doing it right. So a little hammer, sundry screwdrivers, I bought this tool at a trade, not a trade show, but a swap meet or whatever. This is a hacksaw. This is a saw blade, like, you know, a circular saw blade. This is the most dangerous tool I've ever used. It doesn't run true, it vibrates, and it can get away from you real easy. So if you have one of these, please be careful. This thing is dangerous. It'll screw you up. Let's see, we got any other? Of course, you need the basic hand tools and you know, Dremel tool and wrenches and pliers and benders. I have all kind of benders as well. I'm gonna put these books back. It should be stuck good enough that I can manipulate it. You listen to me ramble for 15 minutes. Oh, we're going to talk about Balsa, yes. A grain, B grain, and C grain Balsa. Okay, little information on balsa wood. Balsa wood is a hardwood. Balsa wood is a flowering weed, but it's considered a hardwood. It's fast growing, and it's so fast growing that it leaves a lot of aeration, and that's why it's light and strong. Pound for pound, balsa wood is as strong as steel. And that's what makes it so desirable for us to use in models. What happened to my mouse? When I opened up this video, I had a balsa chart. Come on. There it is. Come on. There we go. I had a balsa chart up. And this balsa chart shows you the different saw grains of how they mill it out of the log. So as a question to you viewers, which grain do you think is most desirable in bending? Meaning in molding. So we're going to put it, I have a steam box, but I have a steamer, but I haven't built the box yet, so I've been using the bathtub. But when I mold, what grain is the most desirable? And I'll give you a minute or so to think about it. You certainly can't bend end grain. so if you got, I see some ads on Google about end grain balsa. You can't do anything with end grain except burn it. It's a joke. So I don't think I can get the mouse pointer to point on screen. No, I can't get it to point on screen. B grain balsa is not the balsa to use to mold with. That will break. If you look how the grain runs biased to the to the wood, meaning that when you bend it, its bias, it'll break. So let's put this back up now. We'll transition to this. So if the grain is running biased to the wood when it's milled, when you bend it, it'll break. Now this is right on the edge. This piece of wood is right on the edge of being A grain and C grain. If you look at C grain, how the grain runs down through the wood, I mean, this was probably cut at 10 o'clock off the log. I don't understand why they can't just cut all the wood at the 12 o'clock position off the log, but they don't. So let me get an example of, well, here we go, right here. This piece of wood right here has all the grain running straight through it. This piece of wood lends itself to be bendable. See how easy that bends? And when you're molding, unless you're molding in a turn or whatever, you have to kind of read the grain. What am I doing with this? Am I going around the corner where I need that turn, where the grain runs straight and then off to the edge? I don't particularly care for that type molding. I relieve the wood and put a piece of carbon veil behind it. But let's say that you're molding in a compound area. Let's see if we can do this. Got glue. I gotta dump this glue here. Get it off the bench. Okay, let's say that I'm got a piece of wood that I'm going to mold around the form in this direction, but it also needs to go this direction. How would you do it? Well, it's pretty simple. We're going to make relief cuts in it. So we make a cut there and a cut there, and this has to be done on the mold, because the mold will show you where it needs to be relieved. So we got it bending down there, but we want to bring it in this way, so we're going to cut a wedge out of that. That's quite exaggerated, the wedge. Like so. So, oh, I broke it. And it's not wet anyway. You got to make sure that you wet it or steam it. But you get the idea. You're relieving the wood, so you're bringing it together. And then on the back side, you put a piece of carbon veil and wick it with CA. That pulls the wood together and bends it down this way around the buck. But the wood has to be either soaked in water, hot water, or steamed. What that does is the glue that glues this grain together is called ligna. And the water or steam softens the ligna, meaning that the fiber in the wood can move. And if you don't soak it, you just saw what happened. But that's the type of wood you want to use, where this bends, but it has some resistance because it's cut on the bias. Let's see if we get another piece here that's really cut on the bias. Okay, here's a good example. No, that's too bendable. I didn't plan on doing this, so I'm not exactly prepared. Another thing about wood, you'll get it sometimes and it'll have little cracks in it. Those are called wind checks. That means that the wind was blowing and the tree was bending back and forth, and it'll check the wood. And the closer you are to the outside of the log, the more wind checks it could have. Here we have a bias grain. Half of this is bias grain. If you look down in the grain, you're seeing little tiny pieces of grain. That means that this was cut across the bias. Where this, the grain runs lengthwise. This is running lengthwise, but you're only seeing short stints of it. This is not a good piece for anything but ribs. See, it'll bend this way real easy because that's the way it come off the grain, but it ain't going to bend this way real good. You have to kind of be a connoisseur of balsa, learn how to read it. What's it going to do? When you pick it up, hold it in your hand. Look down the, get on the end. Get on the end and sight down the wood to make sure that the grain is running basically in a straight line with the cut. That means it was a good cut off the log. There is a way around that too. Let's say that the grain is running out of bias and you need a piece of wood out of that. Well, instead of trying to cut it straight with this edge here, cut it on the bias. Put the ruler up there and cut it right straight with the grain across the sheet. Yeah, you waste some, but it's not going to warp that way. Otherwise, you stand a chance of the wood warping. Most of the bigger pieces of lumber like this one, this is a 1 inch thick, 4 inch wide piece of wood, are B cut. You're not going to find an A grain piece of wood like this that would bend. I mean, anything will bend, but it's nice and straight, this piece, but it's 236 grams, 1 by 4. Let's see what the weight of this is. Nice piece of wood, but it wasn't the lightest pieces that I had. So this is being saved for last. Probably go on this airplane because I don't have any more. Weight of balsa, 236. If it's in the 5-pound range, we'll probably use it. $236, 36, 4, 1 inch, 1 inch, calculate. Yeah, 6.24. Still got to use it, but gonna have to get hollowed out thinner than my normal 3/32 in order to make the weight. So let's see what this one weighs. This one here, see, this is some Brazilian wood. It's Blanco, 3/4 by 4 by 36 AAA balsa wood. So let's see what it weighs. 3/4. Backspace, 3/4. 3/4. The way this, I mean, this to me feels like heavier wood than the other piece. That other piece was 236. This weighs 174. Now, even though this is lighter, it feels like it's going to be heavier. What did I say it was? 174? 172. 172. So, the other piece was 6.24. I'm going to say this is 7-pound wood. 172. 172. And calculate. No way. Oh, that's why. If it was 1 3/4, it'd be 1.4 pound wood, but I entered the data wrong. Actually, this is lighter. It feels heavier to me, but it's lighter. It's 6.07 pound wood. So this will end up being the nose block or something. And I have some other stuff that we use. I don't know. Let's see what the poundage is on this. This feels like a good block to me. This is 2x4x12. This ain't 12 inches long. Ain't no way. Ain't no way this is 12 inches long. 8 inches long. 2x4x8. Two by 4x8. Two by 4. 2, 4, 8. 8. And it weighs 86 grams. 86 grams. Enter. Yeah, I knew this felt like a good piece. This is a 5.12 pound wood. So that'll definitely get used in the cowling, in the nose block area. And I have some other little odds and ends and stuff. I got enough left to finish this airplane, and then that's it. I'm gonna have to replenish the wood pile. I got a lot of RC wood left in St. Louis, but not worth my time to build RC airplane. Yeah, this is set up, but it's still a little tacky. Not sandable yet. I guess we could glue. We could glue the crutch in it. Without a problem. Sticky. Okay. So the crutch was keyed together. I cut a slot here, a receptacle there, or a tongue, and it sticks in there like that. That makes it super strong. This is just 1/8" balsa wood, but it's end grain from side to side, so that'll give it any crush provision. Remember, we're not building lumber wagons. We're trying to engineer out as much wood as we can get. So I want to check the fit one more time before I permanently glue these together. Put your square on it. Make sure the sides are parallel. God, just so sticky. Probably gonna have to groove that down for the fuel line to pass right there, which is not a big deal. Just reach in there with a rotozip tool and is the audio okay and picture okay? I mean, is this about what you guys want to see? That's not ready to come out yet, so I got to get another mixing top. Let's see here. So I use the top of it right there. Five-minute epoxy. I'm not going to stand around and hold this all together for 15 minutes. It's hard enough to talk for 15 minutes, and I've been talking an hour and 19 minutes. I think I'm going to change the angle of the tail post as well before I pull this all together. So let's go ahead and mix up the epoxy and glue this puppy together. Oh, we got this one. Well, yeah, we'll use this one. So I'm going to mark it. So we know where the engine bearers go. It's going to be real easy to glue. The other glue is already holding it. I'm going to do this one side at a time. For the simple fact I don't have ample working area and clamps here, so just mix up enough to do one side and hold it till it dries and then do the other side to make it perfect. Okay. That's so sticky. If you have clamps, if you're at home and you have clamps, it's best to clamp this, but I'm going to be the human clamp. I want to make sure you get a lot of glue on that F2. We get F1 okay too? We'll wipe that off. Now the way that this is designed, if you hold it down on the bench, the datum line is 0 to the thrust line. You don't have to worry about making it 0. It's because you already did the work prior in the layout. Hello, Dale. You're in Australia. Great. I got a lot of Aussie followers. Remember, if you have clamps, it's best to clamp this, but I don't really have my clamps that I normally use here. Need a Q-tip. Shit. You got it. Remember, wipe out the extra glue. You're just carrying it around for nothing. You don't need it. I'm doing a good job. Okay, thanks. Okay, so now let's mix up the glue for the other side. I know we wasted a brush, but they're $2 for 36, so no big deal. Now I indexed all this stuff before I started, so this piece should fit perfectly with that piece. And it does. So let's mix up the glue and glue it together. Shit. I just had them in my hand. There they are. I'm just going to tighten up the heel on this. I'm not going to CA it because I don't care whether they come off or not. We just don't care. It's only wood. Okay, we got it mixed up. Lay it on its side. Last chance to get it square. Close enough. I'll be with the chatters here in a second. I can't take my mind off this. I gotta hold it together till at least it sets. Now this is a very strong nose. Even though it weighs less, because it's engineered, it's probably twice as strong as just if I'd used solid wood. Because if you'd used solid wood, the grain would have run this way. What I'm doing with the CA is just tacking it so that it can dry in its normal position. Now if you remember right, I had already cut, see if I can find it, that's my shear web, which won't be hard to do if I lost it. I had it here. The piece I sanded yesterday, we have a nose ring already. I don't know what kit these are out of. Well, that broke, so that's no good. That would just end up making our own anyway. Better off making my own anyhow. What happened to that piece? It was right here. I probably threw it out. Knowing me, I probably threw it away. The piece of wood that was no good, that I couldn't sand enough out of it, I probably threw it out. Oh, no I didn't. So we already have the pattern. I'm going to wait till I get 64th. We already have the pattern that should fit in here perfectly. I don't want to put it in now though. It would stick in there and we'd be stuck. I could use this piece, and most guys would use this piece, but this piece is 10 grams. It's too heavy. I sanded it down until I hit the glue and then I ran out of steam. I suppose I could sand the other side or just wait till I get the 64th and forget it. Okay, I'm fine. Let's see, I'm just wondering whether you know the best place to get a Fox 35 glow plugs in America. Just wondering whether you know where the best place to get Fox 35 glow plugs are in America. Dale, are you a member of Stunt Hangar Forum? That question would be best asked to the members on the forum. Heck, you might have somebody send you plugs. Okay, so we got that's dry. So now our fuselage should be ready to handle. Alright, if you remember what I said about this top piece, all this wood, there's no air gaps. So that when I round this over, I can sand all the way back to here. I can take 3/8 of an inch out of the top. If I would not have had this 3/16 up on top here, they end up with a real hard line. And part of the biggest problem with doing a nose without any extension is that invariably we're going to end up sanding back into the engine bearer, and that leaves a dissimilar wood impression, and you got to fiberglass it, and it's just a pain in the rear. They soak down in the sunlight, but I got to give that up for weight. I missed a piece of glue. So we need to cut a piece of 3/8, a filler to go in here. I don't really have any good 3/8, but I got a great piece of half, which is just as good. So we're going to cut this with a saw. These are the two nose rings, but I'm not sure I'm going to do the nose like that for the simple fact I'm going to have the muffler mounted to the motor, and it's going to have to go into the airplane all in one, like so. So, because that piece is going to have to plug in to a fixture I make at the back, at the tail here. So if I do my normal nose ring setup where this is glued solid to this, the motors have to come in this direction from back to front. So I have to dream up a different way of mounting the cowl. We have to think about this because, I mean, this particular setup offers a different set of problems than even a piped airplane, because a piped airplane, the header's on it, but you can put the engine in this direction through the nose ring and then fish the pipe through the tunnel and then couple it here in the center. Well, this muffler has to remain on the engine while the engine goes into the airplane. Otherwise you couldn't tighten the damn thing. So it has to go from front to rear so it can plug into the back muffler mount. So I'm going to have to think of a different way of doing this. I'll probably have to split this ring and either do the side mounted cowling business or something along those lines. We'll see. We shall see. But you got to think about all this stuff before you get too far into it. Okay, so let's cut up some filler blocks. First thing I'm going to want to do is either sand or saw this square. It's pretty square, but it's pretty jagged, so we'll sand it. So we get a good fit, because here again, if you have any air gaps, when you sand this around there, you'll end up with a hole. That glue is still a little tacky. Yeah, I got it sanded at an angle. It's no good. No good. It's straight, but, well, I just broke that. But that's okay. We only need to work on this part anyway. It was only tacked together. So it's already a part for me to put together. Set these aside. And most guys would freak out, but that's no big deal. It only has to be tacked together to pull it back together so I can get it straight. I'm having a hell of a time getting this square. Close. See, at home I would do this on my disc sander and I'd be done. There we go. But unfortunately I don't have that here. Where'd the back saw go? Oh, over here. Like, subscribe, share, become a member, join Stunt Hangar. Super chats help. I hope you're getting something out of my videos. Close. I'm going to cut this proud because we're going to sand it all down, so I'll cut it about a 1/16 of an inch bigger. Just like that. Except this is at an angle, that's no good. Damn, I cannot get it straight today. I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. Gonna have to try a different approach, maybe a different block. Now you see I've made this piece 3 times. If you're not happy with it, don't put it on. It's not worth it. So, we're going to cut everything. Now, I've got a line there. And you say, well, that's close. Well, we're going to cut an 1/8 of an inch bigger because I can always sand down to it, but I cannot, especially in a position like this, I cannot add to it. Been on 1 hour and 48 minutes again. The Labor Day special. See, I cut it an 1/8 inch bigger, and that's barely enough. But it is enough, so that's all that counts. There's that piece of glue in there holding it up. I'll show you what I'm doing here. There was a small piece of glue right there in the corner that I couldn't get wiped out because I don't have enough hands. And that was holding this block from being perfectly flush with the front of the motor mount. So it had a small hole, like maybe a 1/16 of an inch. Well, that would have left a hole when I sanded it that I would only have to fill. And we're not into filling. We don't, I mean, just a couple of extra minutes to pick that glue out of there. Saved us a 1/4 ounce of filler. Okay, 1 down, 1 to go. Then we'll glue that back half on there and set it up. I guess I could sand this before I do that. Let's see if this one fits on this side. Nope. Got to make each one hand fit for each side. What happened there today, where you saw this thing fall off the bench and the back half, which these were already cut. If you remember, I just had the thing tacked together. But I had one of that happen before the Gnats, where my Gnats airplane fell off the bench and broke the back half of the fuselage off. I did not fly that airplane at the Gnats that year, and boy was I pissed. I know where that airplane is right now. It's in the basement of Jerry Hop. It's flyable. It's all glued back together. You can't tell that it happened, but I know it's there. Okay, here's that piece of glue again. Right inside here. Right up against the motor mount. If I don't dig out that glue, that block will be set back from the mount. And I won't be happy. Okay. When I sand all this off, it'll get that finished look. It'll be ready for 64th ply. You know what? I screwed up. Again. We gotta go off of that side. We want a nice fit. We gotta go off of this side. Much more better. I will have to finalize the membership at some point when I get paid. Dale, you don't need to be a member to pay to become a member of Stunt Hangar Forum. I'll put in the link. But I will tell you this. You must use your real first and last name. Okay, let me get this for you. Click here. www.stunthangar.com/. Click this link. Go to the join button. It costs nothing to join that. It's a forum where there's 4,500 guys there. Some know what they're talking about. But I'm sure you'll get an answer to your question where to get glow plugs. And like I said, some guys might even send them to you if you ask them nice. Good bunch of guys. Control line stunt flyers are the most generous, cheapest. They're cheap, but they're generous. Okay. Cost you nothing. I'll go in there and let me see here. Go in there and register now, Dale, and I'll approve you. And then log in and then post wherever Australia you're looking for and tell you how to get them and send you some plugs. Okay, we have this this part done. Let's sand this clean. It's already taken on the finished look. Labor Day and I'm laboring. Okay, we'll stop there. We need to level this out. That doubler is up there. A little proud. There we go. Okay, that's good. We'll, I guess, sand the front here, flush, put the motor in it, set the nose ring. Let's see. Okay, hopefully I set it at my 3 degrees thrust offset, but we'll see. So I gotta cut that loose, so we need to relieve a little bit so that the motor will fit down in there. Close enough. We'll sand that. I've just chopped away a little bit of the corner here so that the motor will fit down in. And once it's together, I'll sand it so it looks finished in there. Remember, inside of the airplane's got to look as good as the outside. If you don't, you're cheating. Okay, let's see how we're sitting here. Okay, there actually is the completed crutch assembly. This is the airplane right here. You don't want to, you just want to clean the glue up. You don't want to change this dimension much, because this is where the thrust line's measured from. So don't grind and sand and all that business on top of this. Just get the glue off of it so that it sits nice and flat on the bench. But if you look, all the joints are tight. Everything fits tightly together. Don't leave it for that's close enough, like they do at work. So now we have to set the spinner back plate. As I stated, I'll probably have to cut this off. I'll have to think about it. I won't cut it off till I think about it. So we got motor offset. I need to sand a little bit more on the outside there. Probably gonna have to shim this up too. I like my spinners to be a few thousandths away from the Rico. That's a PA-75. I like the back plates of my spinners to be a few thousandths away from the nose ring, and the way it sits here, we're running probably a 16th. So what I need to do is set the angle, then glue a piece of 16th balsa to the back of this, and then set it on. You want this to be lower than this so that I can put my spinner sanding tool on there and sand the back plate in the same plane as the back plate of the drive washer. If that makes sense. And we have one of two options. Sand this off a little more or loosen the motor up and put less motor offset. Well, as everybody knows, I like motor offset. Motor offset is your friend. We're close. I need to sand that up, relieve that though. Let me know when you, Dale, let me know when you've registered on Stunt Hangar and I'll approve you. Real first and last name. So, okay. And I'm not picking on you, I make everybody do that. Oh well. I guess Dale didn't understand. Stunt Hangar forum is free to join. Link in the chat box there. www.stunthangar.com/SMF. Register with your real first and last name or you ain't getting through me. So I'm going to need a back plate to a spinner. Let's see, there we go. Of course it's not big enough. Damn. Yeah. That's an 1 3/4 spinner with a big hole in it, 3/8 hole in it. What the hell am I gonna do here? I guess we can use, that's too big. I don't know. Back in the day when I was flying SVs, everything I had was 15/16 hole, 2-inch aluminum. Now everything I got is different because everything I'm building is custom. I think this is a 3/8 hole. Yeah, 3/8 hole. That's not a PA. That's a PA with a You're welcome, Paul. There's a guy in here, Dale Berbert from Australia, and he's wondering how to get glow plugs. Well, you can get glow plugs by going on Stunt Hangar. So let's take a peek and see where we are. Well, we're way off. We're way off. I'm going to have to wait till I get a back plate. So I can get this back plate set right. I have that spinning driver, which is where I know I got it somewhere. Is that 15/16? Nope, 1/4 20. Put that in there, put that in there. You'd think that would be 15/16, but it ain't. This one's too small. Well guys, I think that's about all I got for today. We've been on 2 hours and 15 minutes. I do appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, share. Super chats help me keep this channel alive, because if I don't come up my revenue stream, they will close us down. You know, YouTube's in the business of making money. So, I shall return later on this afternoon after I sit down, eat lunch, watch a little TV. I'll glue the back half back on so we can lay out the formers and get that straightened out. So look for me in a few hours. We'll see you then.